In this video, I will talk about the pests that can be lethal to young durian seedlings. I live in a cold temperate climate, and since durians are ultra-tropical plants, I have to grow my seedlings indoors or in a greenhouse during summertime. So the pest I'm going to discuss may not be relevant to you if you happen to be located in a tropical region and can grow durians outside under ideal conditions. There are a few things you can do to maximize your chances of getting your durian seeds to germinate. I made a video on 5 mistakes to avoid. You may want to check it out before or after watching this one. I will put a link to it at the end of this one. Now let's jump into it. I will go over the 5 pests in chronological order of the durian seedling growth stages. Pest number 1, fungi. This pest may appear at the germination stage. Technically, root rot and stem rot can also be caused by fungi and can appear at a later stage under certain conditions. But I must say I have so far not had any root or stem rot issues with my durian seedlings, thanks to well-draining soil and air-pruning pots. The fungi I'm talking about here will kill your precious seeds even before they germinate. Based on my own experience, fungus infections seem to occur more often when the seeds are completely buried. Sometimes an infection is clearly visible. For example, when the fungus has developed fast, like here when I attempted to germinate the seeds in wintertime with colder temperatures in my garage. In summertime, buried seeds may not show any exterior sign of fungus infection, but inside the embryo may already be infected, in which case the seed will never germinate. So the best method to germinate durian seeds is to wrap them in a wet paper towel and place them in a sealed plastic bag. But before doing that, make sure to remove all the pulp around the seeds and clean them thoroughly. Spraying them with a little bit of cinnamon powder can also help. But even with this method, a fungus infection may still develop. If so, the best course of action is probably to quickly discard the infected seed, as the fungus colony can propagate to other still healthy seeds. If many seeds are infected, it could be an indication that the fruit had been frozen or was not fresh. When planting the germinated seeds, avoid burying them completely. Instead, plant them vertically with most of the seed above the soil. In addition to reducing the risk of fungus infection, this method will produce seedlings that grow more straight up without curving. The main issue with this method is that in a dry air environment, like indoors in wintertime, the germinated seeds may dry up quickly. Pest number 2, fungus gnats. Once the durian seeds have successfully germinated, they will become prey to fungus gnats. These tiny black pesky insects flying around are usually just a nuisance. They lay the eggs in the soil, and the larvae eat the organic matter in there. Most plants will do just fine if the soil does indeed contain organic matter. However, it seems that no matter what the soil composition is, larvae of fungus gnats will often be attracted to germinated durian seeds. They will chew on the germinated seeds from inside or on the taproot of the young seedlings. A little digging around reveals the culprits, like here. The fungus gnat issue is more pronounced indoors in wintertime, but is not to be dismissed in summertime in a greenhouse. If a germinated seed suddenly stops growing, there is a good chance that fungus gnats are the root cause, pun intended. The larvae can even go up to the main bud to snack on it. I have rarely seen this with other plants. Once the main bud is killed, the big stem will usually push out 2 new buds. In this state, keeping the seedling alive becomes even more challenging. I should have probably discarded it, but I decided to keep it for now. After all, this seedling was able to fend off a fungus colony. Since durian seeds and fungus gnats require moisture, keeping the surface of the soil dry to prevent fungus gnats from laying their eggs is not an option. A solution that has worked for me is to wrap a plastic bag around the seedling. In addition to fighting fungus gnats, the plastic bag prevents the seeds from drying, in case it was planted vertically and mostly exposed above the soil, as previously discussed. Another tip, covering the surface of the soil with sand or rock dust can help discourage the fungus gnats. A thick layer also increases the stability of the seedling. Pest number 3, slugs. A single sneaky small slug can quickly kill a healthy young durian seedling. For some reasons, the slugs in my greenhouse in summertime don't even bother going to the top of the seedlings to eat the leaves. The stems of the seedlings are good enough for them. Slugs are like fungus gnat larvae, it seems. There is something in the durian that attracts them. I noticed a bit too late that the leaves of this seedling had slowly turned yellowish at the end of the summer. I checked the pot and found a little slug at the bottom. The seedling stopped growing until it started to push out 2 new stems. This is the same pattern observed with the fungus gnats. It was only when I brought the seedling inside the garage to overwinter it that I understood the damage done by the slug. Most of the outer layer, or cambium, of the base of the stem was gone. Since this layer is where the flow of nutrients takes place, the root system was no longer able to adequately sustain the upper part of the plant. So the seedling was pushing out 2 new stems to redirect the nutrients there. Obviously, the little seedling was going to spend much more energy trying to sustain 3 stems at the same time. I had to make a hard choice and get rid of 2 stems to focus the flow of nutrients on a single one. But which one to keep? The big stem that was battle-tested, but no longer growing and could start dying down the road. The medium one that was growing very fast, but was not as hardened off as the big one. Or the smallest one with a slower growth rate that could actually prove to be an advantage indoors in winter time while waiting for ideal growing conditions in spring. It almost felt like a human existential question. In the end, I decided to keep the initial stem, hoping it would be able to grow back its cambium at the base. Time only will tell whether I made the right decision. Pruning is way more difficult on a young seedling than on a mature tree. But I think regardless of the available options, the right choice was to do something rather than to do nothing. And watch out for slugs when the stems of your durian seedlings are still green and tender. Pest number 4. Scales. This is my most mature durian seedling. It had survived its first winter indoors, and I was very hopeful it was going to experience a strong growth phase the following summer. It actually did, but all the new growth eventually died. When fall arrived, it had only produced a couple of new small viable leaves. When I brought it in my garage to overwinter it, it was still trying to push out new growth, but everything would eventually die off again. That's when I decided to inspect the plant with a magnifying glass under strong LED lights. It was infested by scale insects. The reason why I did not notice them earlier was twofold. First, the scales that infected my seedling were tiny and flat, smaller than the scales that infected my other tropical plants, I believe, like on the sugar apple or the soursop trees. The scales on the durian look more like the ones on my citrus trees. Second, the color of the scale insects almost perfectly matches the color of the stem of the durian seedling after it starts to change from green to brown color. I can easily spot these scales on my citrus trees because their branches remain green for a longer time. But on the durian, the scales are almost invisible. Scales can be found anywhere.
Now picture that, but everywhere.
Yes, anywhere and everywhere. Once an infestation picks up steam, like inside the youngest leaves that have not opened yet, on the more mature leaves, on the stem, and in the soil. They will slowly kill the young leaves, and the seedling will start to die off from the top. So when your more mature durian seedlings keep losing their young leaves, check for the presence of scales. Neem oil is effective against them, but it is a double-edged sword. If the concentration is too high, a neem oil solution can burn the young tender durian leaves. I prefer to use neem oil on the soil, the trunk, and the more mature leaves. For the younger leaves, I wait for them to open to manually get rid of the scales. I'm not sure how they manage to get inside, but I suspect the larvae are so tiny that they can actually crawl through the smallest openings. Pest number 5. Well, I'm sure you will not like this one.
Everywhere. What?
Yes, everywhere.
Cool!
Okay, but please, just to make sure, click on the like and subscribe buttons now in case you might decide it's too much for you to handle. The first 4 pets in this list were just an appetizer. No pun intended.
They're still alive. Extraordinary.
See, in its native environment of Southeast Asia, the durian is a delicacy not only for humans, but also for a myriad of other pests, to the point that a whole page on Wikipedia was dedicated to durian pests. I don't know of many other fruit trees that deserve such an honor. Any species you can think of will probably have a representative on this list that may not even be exhaustive. As durians become more popular in subtropical and temperate climates, I'm sure the list will get longer. For example, as of the making of this video, fungus gnats and common slugs are not even on there. I don't know what is so attractive about durians. I mean, the stem is good enough for slugs, while fungus gnats larvae can crawl up just to enjoy the buds. Not to mention some crazy humans, trying to grow this ultra-tropical fruit tree in the coldest temperate climates. The durian is definitely the king of fruits, and dare I say it, of animals as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.